help us make sense of what happened in Hungary with Viktor Orban. I mean, it was more that it was anti-immigration kind of rule of law concerns, and the economy's not doing great. So why did people vote for him?
Well, I think he's got this clear populist message that resonates with voters. They showed up. You know, there's this big conversation. If more voters show up, then he's going to fail to get his supermajority. They show up and they cast votes in favor of this populist narrative that he's had, sort of anti-immigrant. It's in line with everything he's delivered. He's tightened control on power while he's been there. I mean, every time we look across Europe and we want to normalize a narrative about populism, we sort of say, well, it's waning, or here's where the government didn't win. Here's a clear, resounding victory where the populist narrative delivered, and the government is going to act on it. So we're going to see continued tightening of the of the rules on media, continuing pressure on the judiciary. We're probably going to see a continued conflict with the EU too. So this is, you know, the beginning of a new phase of even tougher dynamic between Hungary and the rest of Europe.
Okay, but is it, I guess, you know, coined to Hungary, or does it spill over? We have similar measures in Poland. Does it spill over to the kind of, you know, Western Europe?
Well, I think there are a variety of different types of populism going on across Europe right now, and clearly you see a sort of similar story in Poland that you see in Hungary. I think this is a model. I'm not particularly concerned that this model is going to be replicated writ large across Europe. I think you've got a sort of leftist anti-business type populism as well that we have to look at. You've got all different types of populism. So I look at Hungary and Poland as unique cases, but they're cases that are a test for the EU, where the EU is actually going to have to decide what they mean when they say they're going to stand against anti-democratic activity when leaders are elected democratically.
Okay, and what do the markets do with this, Rupert?
Well, I think for now they do very little. I mean, I think you've seen very little response this morning. I mean, the amazing thing is, I remember, you know, speaking to you last year, we were looking forward to the Italian election, and there was the kind of nightmare scenario where maybe somehow the Five-Star Movement and the League might be able to get together. At the time, that seemed like a kind of market apocalypse, like that was going to be, you know, yields blowing up in Italy, and yet now that's under discussion and the market is very, very calm. And I think there are a couple of reasons for that. One is specifically in Italy that they've kind of backed away from scary policies on the euro and EU membership. But it's also, I think, the macro context is that markets are more focused on growth, on strong growth in Europe, on corporate earnings. But if that were to start to fade away, I think some of these underlying populist governments and populist movements would, I think, pose a significant challenge. If you get to a period where governments are under pressure fiscally or on growth issues and are willing to break the rules, not abide by the rules within the European system, then I think that could become very problematic.